We're back to Benin Network Studio, where the National Enforcement Chief and Director of Operation Music Copyright Society of Nigeria is also a copyright expert, a copyright lawyer. Prince Biodun Egwahede is with us. Prince, thank you for coming on the show.
Good morning, Sonny. Thank you for having me.
Okay. I'm concerned about how much time we have, but we'll see how far we can go with that. The creative industry, as it is today, is buzzing, it's bubbling with so much in it. And over the years, the conversation has revolved around the fact that those who are in the creative industry, they're not getting value for their money. Give us your take on how this has been in the years gone by, and what we are doing to attack it frontally to ensure that those who are in the creative industry, they're able to get value for their money.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sonny. I think it's been a discussion that has lasted for a very long time, that those in the creative industry do not get the kind of value they expect for their hard work. Yes, this is as a result of the fact that people do not believe that intellectual property is somebody's property. Because of the way and manner we assess works of the creatives, it's something that is grossly abused. Just name it. Whatever that has been created by the mind that you can refer to eventually as intellectual property. Because of the way people assess them. For instance, if you take a musical work and sound recordings, for example, you go to a shop, maybe you buy a CD. As far as you are concerned, you want to believe you now own that CD. Or you go to an art shop, you see a beautiful painting, you buy it. You now believe you own that painting. Or you walk into anywhere you find an audiovisual work. You acquire the CD, you also believe you own it. You go to a bookshop, you buy a book, you believe you own that book. But indeed, are you really the owner of the book? You may own the copy, but you don't own the intellectual property. And that is why there is a provision of the law that is very express, that it says, if you must use somebody's intellectual property to support a trade or business, you need the permission of the owner.
Okay.
If you were entirely the owner, nobody will be asking you to take permission for that which you think you have acquired by way of maybe purchase of a copy. Yes, if you buy a CD, you own the copy, but you don't own the work contained in it.
Okay.
And that is why the law says if you must use such work outside your private or domestic environment, you must go to the owner to ensure that he gives you permission for it. Go to our universities today. You find that there are photocopy machines everywhere. Somebody buys a textbook from a shop. Rather than go back and buy more copies, what do? You go to the photocopier operator and you continue to replicate this book. Yes. And the person doing it does not even believe that he's doing anything wrong. And society does not even condemn it. But indeed, if you have to buy just one copy of a book and you now continue to reproduce them, how can the owner of that book ever smile to the bank? The person who is smiling to the bank is the one who bought this photocopy machine, who is now reproducing that book for you. That is what happens to every work protected by copyright, which is today provided for in Section 2 of the Copyright Act of 2022. There are 6 of such works, which even includes the broadcast. People access your broadcast and they use it on their own as if it is free. So you cannot find an environment where this is the situation and then it will not impact negatively on the owner of such works. So it is very important that we start to address these issues, because we've had so many times, at the end of the person's, towards the end of the person's life, or even maybe for medical bills and all that, you now have to start reaching out to people. Meanwhile, these are supposed to be what you call celebrities. People you hardly assess when they were having a lot of endorsements, as the case may be. Endorsement is not forever. Yes. And you also find that because of the attitude of some of the people in showbiz, they are more interested in showbiz, when they are rising, you know, everybody wants popularity. Some people can even come and say, let me give you money for you to even put my work on air.
Yeah.
Whereas you that is putting his work on air ought to even be paying for it. Yeah, because at that point in time, they are more interested in fame, forgetting that fame without fortune is going to be a calamity. So when the time you are done with your fame, and now you are supposed to be thinking about how much fortune have you acquired over the years, and it's not there, then the problem comes.
All right. Is the problem more with the awareness or lack of it, or the implementation of the law? I mean, you're doing a comparison between what obtains in the civilized climes compared to what happens in Nigeria. Take, for example, some of the social media platforms. You post a content there, and there is a part of it, a portion of it, that is not originally yours. They flag it down. To what extent are we exploring some of these infringements on the digital media, as it were? Because everything is going digital. You were talking about CDs and DVDs. They're no longer as popular as they were some years back.
Yeah, and I think that is the beautiful thing that it's contained in the new Copyright Act of 2022, which was signed into law by Mr. President on the 17th of March 2023.
Okay.
Because, yes, I was talking about CDs and CDs and CDs. If you're talking about infringement, before now the law was addressing issues of CDs. But the beautiful thing now is that if you look at section 44, subsection 7 of the new copyright law, it was clearly expressed. And it was dealing with issues of digital exploitation, whether by wire or wireless. Because before now, there was nothing like penalty that was expressly for a performance offense. All right, you use works, musical works in a public place. How do you quantify the violation or punishment that accrues to that particular infringement? But in this particular one, it is very express and clear.
Okay.
It says, if you perform or use works protected by copyright in any trade without the authorization of the owner, whether through digital or wireless or by wire stuff, if you are liable, you will be made to pay about ₦1 million or 5-year jail term or both. To that extent, you find out that that particular lacuna that used to exist has been addressed. And I also want to say that it's not really that the people are not aware. It is our attitude in this part of the world. You find a situation where, unless you use some people as example, as
scapegoats,
deterrents, people will not believe that it is important to do what is right. I recall somebody in a very high position saying, he said, you don't sermonize with people to desist from committing crime. He said, you sanction them. Until we start to sanction people about intellectual property theft, they will not know that intellectual property is somebody's property. So now that some of those issues have been addressed, I believe that we are going to record an improvement in compliance. All right? Yes, in this climate, we always believe that nothing will happen, in quote. And the people who are involved are the so-called high and mighty. Because if you look at those who are in violation of the extant law, who are really these people? Majority of them are owners of big businesses, broadcast stations, transport companies, hotels, lounges, and all of that. These are not small people. And these people often believe that they are above the law. And until those who are in position realize that nobody is bigger than the law, we will not have anything meaningful in terms of enforcement of compliance. But I'm particularly excited that in recent times, you find people who are charged with the responsibility of enforcement saying, no man is bigger than the law. We are going to do it the way it ought to be done. And this is what happens in every other part of the world. The way and manner we do it here is not how it happens outside. Reason because if people don't even wait for you to come before they go to the right place to say, this is what is my due for this particular item. Yes, but I know we're going to get there because we are not going to stop in ensuring that what needs to be done is going to be done.
Those who are benefiting from this act, as it were, the Copyright Act, how would you describe their level of commitment, dedication, and active participation in this to make it work. Because sometimes you have some sort of dissonance on their part, which seems to make it look like you can't cry more than the bereavers, as it were. Yes, quickly, as we call it a rap now.
Yeah, but you see, when it comes to that, it's more of issue of ignorance. Because a lot, when you find most of the people, other than in the literary works, as it were, bulk of those people in the creative industry, a lot of them are near illiterate in caliber. So sometimes they can even attack you, whereas you are fighting their cause. So it's a difficult thing to achieve. Because until they realize that what is happening is grossly in their benefit, things may not change. But we are doing a lot in that regard, trying to enlighten them, and some of them, a lot of them are coming to form to understand that whatever we're doing is in the interest of those in the creative industry. And to a large extent, I am sure we're going to achieve the feat we are supposed to achieve.
All right, Prince Biogwakide, thank you so much for coming on the show. If we have much time, certainly would have explored more areas of conversation on the show this lovely Monday morning. That's a package for today on TMI on the ITV network. Be sure to join us tomorrow at exactly 7 o'clock. A fresh installment is in the offing. I want to say big thanks to my colleagues at the Abuja Network Studio, Joseph Kadri and Dominic Ayemese, as well as my colleague here, Daniel Praise Usadibami. And a big thanks to all our crew members behind the scene, ensuring the show is a huge success. Well, it's our countdown to May 29, just around the corner. We're hoping that Mr. President-elect, when eventually he's inaugurated alongside his vice, it will hit the ground running. We don't want to see a situation wherein we wait for 6 months or more before the Federal Executive Council is constituted. By now, we should know who the Chief of Staff will be, who the SSG will be, and then before we start saying the Minister of this and Minister of that, we're yet to see any of that. Just last week, we have the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, revealing that adequate arrangements have been made for the safety and security of all the people that will be attending the inauguration of the President-elect. But beyond that, we want to see them hit the ground running, and they're giving us some fillip in our stomach just to ensure that things go in the right direction to put Nigeria on the trajectory of peace, progress, and development. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. Have a great week ahead, and bye for now.